Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I want to do something a little bit different and tell you guys my ideas for future Star Stable updates. I made a list in my phone like a year ago of like 30 or so things that I would like to see added to the game eventually, and I must not have too terrible of ideas because several of the things on the list have actually been added since then, like the custom home stable. And some of these things on the list I have heard mentioned before by other players, and I really like watching the videos of other YouTubers, Star Stable YouTubers, giving their ideas for things to be added to the game. I think it's really interesting, so I just wanted to do one myself. Also, by the way, all the footage that you're going to be seeing on screen is old stuff that I've just went ahead and muted, and I'm going to do a voiceover. So the first thing that I would like to see added to the game is a visible paddock or pasture. So this is something that I've seen a lot of players say that they want, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, in your home stable you have your horses that are actually visible in your stable, and then your other horses you have to click a button and you just see them in like a tab off to the side with their name and like a little picture of just their head, and it says that they're out in pasture, but you can't actually see them or visit them in the pasture. And I just think it would be really fun now that we have like the custom home stables and the way they've updated that and the storage and stuff. I think the next thing that they could possibly work on would be to make a stable or a pasture or a paddock or something where we can organize our horses in there instead of just having them in like off-camera storage. Like maybe we could just pick, even if it's just a handful like we do in the actual stable, but be able to pick some at least that you can actually place in a pasture and be able to go and look at them and see them. And we do kind of have this in the game in the sense that there's like NPC horses that will be off into paddocks and pastures just standing there walking around themselves. So I don't think it would be super hard for them to add this, but I think it would just be really nice to be able to actually look at some of your horses that aren't actually just standing in the stable. And really, I think this could be implemented just about as easy as the home stables themselves are, because like the way this game is, it's an online game and it's open world in the sense that like all these other players are in the server are all here together and we all see the same things. But yet when you go to your home stable, the outside looks the same to all of us players, but once you go inside, it's custom to each player and what they have chose for themselves, and all their horses and all their stuff is there and nobody else's. You don't see anybody else's stuff. So I think it would be basically the same concept to do that with like a pasture where it's just somewhere probably by your stable, I guess, but you just only see your horses there and not the other players' horses. Next, I have pony and donkey pets. This is another thing that I've seen a lot of people say that they want, and I don't think would be super complicated for Star Stable to add, because you already have the feature where if you have a dog or a cat pet or any pet, they can run alongside you. You don't have to have them in your actual saddlebag, and some of these pets that you can equip is actually kind of big. So I don't think it's really a stretch to say that they could add pony and donkey pets and they just follow alongside you instead of being in your saddlebag ever, obviously. And we also have some of those quests in the game where you have to find the lost donkeys and they, you lead them and they follow right behind you. So I don't think it's really that complicated to ask them to add pony and donkey pets because they kind of already have the groundwork for it there. And also I see a lot of people say they want like Shetland ponies and these other kinds of pony breeds added, and I love these pony breeds too, but I don't think that it's realistic for them to add them as like rideable horses in the game, because like some breeds already, the way they are really starting to push it in terms of like the size difference between the player and the horse or the pony. So I think like a Shetland pony, especially just as an example, would really be kind of silly. And I mean, again, this is a silly game. It's got like unicorn horses and stuff in it, so it doesn't really matter. But I don't know, like it kind of would take me out of it a little bit if they were to have like are huge full-grown characters on Shetland ponies riding around. But you know, I wouldn't be opposed to it if they did add Shetland ponies or, you know, donkeys that are rideable, but I would prefer it as a pet instead, and I think that would be pretty easy for them to add. So number 3 is name pets and rename character. So renaming the character part is self-explanatory. Like, everybody and their dog wants the ability to rename their character in this game, because everybody regrets the name that they started out with because it doesn't suit them anymore, or they just hated it immediately, and it's just weird that you don't have any ability to rename yourself in this game. So I definitely hope that they add that before too awful long. And the ability to name pets seems like the most obvious thing in the world, and I kind of am in shock that we don't already have that ability to do that, because we can name our horses, so why can't we just name our pets too? Okay, I think this is the last thing I have for pets as an idea, but number 4, more dog and cat breeds as pets. So as far as I know, I think we only have the long hair and short hair cats as options, and that's enough for me. I mean, I like cats and everything, but like, a cat is a cat, and I don't really know very much about breeds, so I'm fine with the cat options we have, although I would be welcome to more, of course. But as for dogs, like, there's so much diversity in dog breeds, and we just have like that one terrier shaggy looking dog, and it's cute, but at the very least it needs like its model updated, and I would really be happy if they just added more breeds of dog for pets, because there's just so many that they could do, and like, we're just missing out. Like, I want a Chihuahua as a pet. Okay, this next one is a big one for me, and that is more Western activities, reworked barrel racing, lasso cows, etc. So I can't understand why a horse game doesn't take advantage of the Western scene more, like cowboys, hello. So for me, I would really especially like the revamped barrel racing, because it's silly that we only have like that one barrel race competition, and it's terrible. Like, it's not fun at all. And they do have, I forget what it's called, but it's like that big arena at Starshine Ranch that has like the Western race or whatever it's called. That was one of the more fun things to do in the game to me, and I just wish we had more things like that. But specifically with Western, I think that if they just reworked barrel racing, that has the potential to be so much fun. Because when I was little, I had this game called Let's Ride Corral Club, I think it was, and it was mostly barrel racing, and it was the funnest thing ever, and it was really hard. So I think that if they added that to the game and actually made it challenging, that would just be an absolute blast. And also lassoing cows, like roping competition, I think would be really fun too, and that could work maybe similar to the archery that they added, where it's just kind of like the timing and trying to aim, and I think that would be fun too, even if it's really simple. So everybody can pretty much universally agree that the championship races are the funnest favorite thing to do in the game, and it's definitely the most challenging. And I like that we have something to do every half hour if we're going to do the championships, and there is a lot of different championships to compete in, but it does feel really repetitive after a while, so I would like for them to add some more races to do, so that there's just a little bit more variety and it doesn't get so just tedious. But I also would like for them to expand on the idea of championships more, in the sense that you can compete in things other than just a race and it still be a championship against other players. So I'm thinking like show jumping, dressage, barrel racing, something like that. So like the show jumping that we had a trial of for 6 weeks last year, where you actually had the faults and the time penalties and stuff. Imagine that, but like it's a championship against other players, and whoever actually did it the fastest and with the fewest penalties wins the championship, and you actually place the way you would in a real show. So the way that could work is if, instead of like, you know how the races we have right now, the championships, everybody sees each other competing in the race. For it to work with like a show jumping or barrel racing or dressage, it would have to be like where all the other players are invisible and you only see yourself in the arena. And then when it's over, everybody's score comes up and just whoever had did the best wins. Obviously, you can't have a show jumping thing where you can see everybody running the course at once. It would be way too confusing. But even though this would be kind of complicated for them to add, I think it would just be such a major improvement to the game. And I just think that it's something that should be in the game, really. So the last couple of years, they've been doing a lot to try to update the graphics and the models for different NPCs and characters in the game, and they've done a really good job. I love the Hollow Woods update, and the new character models are excellent, but we have so many NPCs that are still absolutely hideous, and they look like they've came from some kind of horrible caveman era, and it just is so jarring and weird to see them next to something in the game that is updated to modern graphics. And then you also have certain areas in the game that are still really ugly and clunky in comparison to areas next to them. And I know that they can't just like snap their fingers and have everything up to date, and they are working on it, but it is something that I kind of wish that they would prioritize maybe a little bit more. So an extension of that thought, I would really like to see them update and give a makeover to all the areas on the map like they did with the Hollow Woods and Silverglade Manor, because I think it looks really good. The graphics look good, and also I like these areas that are themed like that. So I think the Dino Valley, like the snow area, really needs updated, and also everything over by Jarlheim and like New Hillcrest is like the worst thing I've ever seen in my life, and I hate going over there because of how bad it looks. So that needs done. But also I would really like to see Fort Penta be updated and get like a really tropical theme going over there. I think like some palm trees and stuff like that would just be really pretty. And Starshine Ranch, I would give anything for them to redo and make it like desert themed, like some cactuses and sand, stuff like that, because it's a little weird to me that that's like our western area and yet it looks like anywhere else on the map. I just wish that they would make it like feel like cowboy out west, Wild West theme a little bit more. So speaking of the Hollow Woods, one of my favorite things about that update was the fireflies and will-o-wisp that you have to really grind to be able to unlock, and it took absolute ages to get all of that done. And then even when you're finished with that and unlocking all that stuff and you had all those quests to do, you can still collect those and sell them, and that's how I make the majority of my shillings. And also that's what I do for the Trailblazer track too, to be able to grind and level up on that. So I really like having that option there to grind and spend a lot of time on that. I know a lot of people get sick of it, but I just like having that option, and I feel like it drove a lot more traffic to the Hollow Woods because there's just something there to do. So I think it would be nice if in other areas of the map, maybe some areas that are kind of neglected and there's not really a lot of players there, if they would do a makeover like they did with the Hollow Woods and then add more things like the fireflies and will-o-wisp there, call it something different, or you know, make it look a little bit different, but basically be the same concept and idea where you have to grind to unlock something and grind to unlock different parts of a quest, more items, and it also can be something that you can sell and earn points for the Trailblazer track for, and it literally is just giving you something to do and a reason to go to these areas of the map. So I wish that they would do that in more places. As a side note though, I do wish that they would add a option in the settings to be able to switch on or off the fireflies and will-o-wisp thing, because I get a lot of people saying that it's kind of annoying once you're finished with it and you just don't want to see it anymore because they're just everywhere all over the Hollow Woods, and if you're trying to take pictures or something, they're going to be in the background. So I think just having that in the settings where you can switch it off if you don't want it would be nice. And this is just a dream and it's not going to happen, but can we please have a little bit more star coins, please, for our weekly allotment? They're never going to do that, but it would just be really nice. But at the very least, can they not add like even just 10 or 20 star coins to the Trailblazer tracks? Give us some kind of reason to do that, or I don't know, maybe do codes more often, something. And they are doing codes more often, but there's just constantly people complaining about star coin prices and that they don't give us enough star coins in the game, and I agree with that, but I just don't see them doing it very often. But at the very least, at least they're giving us the Trailblazer track right now, and we get free stuff through that. And also they do give us a lot of codes, but you just have to keep your eyes peeled for them, and it's kind of hard to keep up with that. But I don't know, man, I wish we got more star coins, and at the very least, I wish that the items that they give us in the Trailblazer track could be sold, or sold for more than we are able to sell them for now, because some of the stuff that I get, I absolutely hate it, and I'm never gonna wear it or use it, but it's not even worth selling, because if you can sell it at all, it's like 10 shillings, and it's like, come on, man, like, why can I not even sell this and get something back out of it, being that I had to grind so much to be able to unlock it? I wish that just in general it was easier to earn shillings, because right now, like, even if you win a championship, what do you get? Like 500 shillings, and you only get like 200 for participating, and if you do that like every half hour all day, you're still not really earning that much, and you get such a piddly amount from training your horse and doing quests and stuff, and it's just so long to be able to earn enough to actually buy something in the game for free, essentially free of real world money. And they do that on purpose, of course, because they want to force us to have to use star coins, aka real money, and that's why that there is a cap on how many shillings we can have. You can only have 10,000, and they have very high prices of shillings for being able to buy something in the game with the shillings, and it's all because they want to have to make it as difficult as possible so that you have to use the star coins. And I get that they're a business and they have to do that and everything, but it's just so evil. I just hate it, and I just wish that they would raise the max shillings, or make it easier and faster for us to be able to earn shillings. So like, why can't we do like double shillings weekend? Like right now we get double points on Trailblazer tracks like once or twice during it. Why can't we do that with shillings every weekend too? And speaking of double weekends, why can't we have double XP weekends for character and horse XP? Especially for horse XP, I think that would be so motivating to actually get your untrained horses out and finish training them, finish leveling them up. And at the very least, it's just going to get players interested in playing the game and get them online. And that's what Star Stable wants. They want us to interact with their game. So I wish that they would do just very simple things like that to motivate us to play more often. And I don't know how, speaking of untrained horses, somehow every horse I have is fully leveled up to the max except the one that I'm currently riding, which is the mule that I just got. I don't know how I've managed that, because everybody else has got loads of horses in their stables that's not even anywhere near being trained, but somehow mine are. Another way that we could make shillings easier and faster would be if there was more things that we could gather and collect in the game to sell. For instance, forageables. I know we can gather some herbs and stuff that we use in the Hollow Woods for our gardening and stuff, but I think it would be so cute if we had like an actual, like a vegetable garden, and then we could sell those, or, you know, raise our own carrots and things like that to feed the horses so you don't have to buy it. I just think that that would be so cute, because a horse game is a cozy game at heart, and like all cozy games have like some kind of farming, and we've kind of got gardening a little bit, so I think that just expanding on that a little would be so cute. And also it just gives us a way to be able to earn some shillings. So imagine just being able to go out and collect mushrooms or whatever and sell it, or even just the herbs and stuff that we can collect right now, and the plants, the moss and whatnot. Why can't we sell that for more? Like, I have hundreds in my inventory and I can sell them for like 50 shillings only. It's not worth even gathering them. So I just think that that would be a nice way to like encourage us to just go out and collect things and thus play the game. And also like the fishing. I think another thing that cozy games always have is fishing, and the fishing in this game stinks. It's not fun at all. And can we even sell the fish? I don't think we can. Or if we can, it's like for nothing at all. So I think if they revamped the fishing, that could make it really fun and just give us something else to do. And then it would be motivating to do the fishing if we could actually sell it and make some shillings off of it. It goes without saying that because this game is so old, it is absolutely littered with glitches, and I think major bug fixes are something that the team definitely needs to prioritize, because for years now, every time you log in, it's the same issues. Like for instance, right now you can look at the horse I have and see that the reins just don't have the correct kind of flow off of his head. They hang at a weird angle, and also the reins go through his neck, and that is kind of unforgivable for a horse game, and it's like that for pretty much everything. I know they are working on retrofitting the tack, and I can't wait for that, but it's just things like that that it should have been done years ago, and I'm surprised that they've not made it a top priority. And also, just for like minor details that could be fixed, the character's hair doesn't really blow in the wind or anything, the clothes seem stiff, even the tack sometimes feels very awkward. Even though these are things that they've improved a lot, it's still, it could use some work. And also, I think we all remember having the chainsaw arms at the Winter Festival, and there's been times when the fishing poles get attached to you, or you start to do a quest and it says missing translation. This is all stuff that should be fixed like immediately and should not be hanging around for this long in the game, and yet here we are. So I wish that they would just prioritize that kind of stuff. Another obvious thing that I think we all can agree on is that the chat system is like an absolute mess. It's a dumpster fire. Some of the things that I see going on in the global chat is outrageous for any game, especially a children's game. And yes, I know that you can mute and ignore certain players. There is ways to report players, but it's so difficult to be able to report it, and then they're so slow about actually answering you back about things, and then even when they do answer, it's so flawed. Like, they have told me before, like, oh, this isn't against our policy or whatever, when it literally directly is. And I'm like, are you an AI robot, or are you a person that literally just didn't even read or look at what I sent you and you don't care? So something has got to change with like their customer support and just the way that they handle everything in the chats. Like, the servers are a mess, and if they can't make it safe for kids, then why is it even there? So I imagine they're eventually going to get in some pretty hot water for that, more than they already are, if they just don't do something to put better filters in place or mods, something that somebody needs to be watching those servers and make sure that nothing weird is going on in them, which they very often are. So there definitely needs to be a complete overhaul on the chat and how you can go about reporting players in certain messages. Now that we have the sitting trot, which I think was a really good update, I wish that they would allow an option to be able to hold the reins in different ways, especially the Western style with only one hand. That would be just an excellent update, I think, and I think everybody would like that. It would make it feel more realistic and natural, and it would be really good for photos too. Think about that. So I see a lot of players saying that they want blankets, ear bonnets, breast collars, things like that added, and I think that would be great, especially the breast collars and ear bonnets. I would love that. The blankets I don't really care about, because like I'm not going to have those on anywhere except the actual stable, and I'm not in there enough to really care. I say that as if I don't have like a fully customized stable behind me. Anyway, what I really would like though is double saddlebags or a front saddlebag. So the saddlebags we have right now just kind of attach to nothing. They just are kind of hanging there off the side of the horse, and they don't look very natural. They literally just look like they're just kind of glued there miraculously. And what I mean by double saddlebags are like the kind that you would actually see in stores and stuff, where they either go over the saddle horn and they hang off of the front, and they have like a canteen or like a lasso or something roped around them, or they are the kind that go in the saddle in the back and just kind of hang off of both sides of the horse. And I just think that that would look really neat and cute, and I thought that that would be a really good thing to have with the mule, actually, or the Western style horses. They kind of like an actual pack set thing that we could get. I wish that we had something like that. I would really like to see them add rain or just any kind of weather cycles. Maybe cloudy days, sunny days, rain. We know we have snow, but it's only for like, what is it, a month? in the winter time, and I'm usually sick of the snow by the time it's over and I'm ready for it to go, but I like that they've added the ability to switch it on and off, and I think they could do something similar with the rain and the other weather patterns. If it starts to rain and you don't like it, just switch that off, or maybe have the ability to completely turn off the weather patterns if you don't want to have to deal with that at all, and just have it as a constant that you set yourself. But for me, I would love if there was rain and like thunderstorms and things like that every once in a while. Another small detail that would make a big difference is if we had character emotes and expressions. So our characters, like no matter what is going on, unless it's for like a special animation for the horse, they have the same blank face for everything, and it's really creepy and I hate it. So I wish our characters had like actual expressions, even if it's just something that repeats on a pattern. I'd like to see a little bit of an expression, a little bit of personality, and I think it would be nice if they did something like how Palia is, and they have a wheel that you can pull up that has different emotes. And I know we have something similar to that, but it's not very good in my opinion. And I think that it would be nice if we had something again like what Palia has, and you have stickers that you can put in a little wheel that you can pull up, and you can just choose different stickers that will appear above your head for everybody to see. Another thing that I think we definitely need is a horse catalog and wish list. So I think that we desperately need for the global store to have an option to be able to favorite items that we can put into a list, and then we can come back later to just keep it organized to be able to see what we actually want, because it's so hard to find things and sort through everything the way it is right now. And for a horse catalog, I just mean that I wish that they had a way to be able to look at all of the horses in the game, all the coat colors, and organize it yourself. Like even the horses you've already bought, if there was a way to be able to see, okay, you have this many bays, you have that many geldings, this many of this breed, something to keep it organized, and also to keep track of what you already own and what you want, just like a wish list. But to be clear, I don't want there ever to be a way to buy horses from like a page like that, because to me, so much of the fun of a new horse is going to the actual location that they're being sold at and having to see them in person. And I don't want to be able to buy them like from the global store with like tack and stuff. That wouldn't be fun to me, but I do wish that there was a way to wish list and organize things better. I would really like to see more wildlife in the game. I know in the Hollowwoods sometimes you'll see an owl flying around, and I think sometimes there's like a crow, but I wish there was just more stuff in there. And I wish, for goodness sake, I wish that they would get rid of the cows in the Hollowwoods and put them somewhere farmy instead, and replace the cows with like deer or the moose and stuff. You see the bears sometimes. Like I wish there was more of things like that that would make the world of the game seem a little bit more alive. I would really love to see them do more partnerships and make horses in the game that are based off of real life horses. Like we had the Belgian Warmblood that was based off of H&M's All In, and that was awesome. I mean, it was a limited time. It was here for I think a couple of years before they got rid of it, but that was still such a brilliant idea, and I thought that that was really fun. And there's so many horses in real life that they could base models off of in this game, and even if it's limited time, that would be really fun and exciting. And for me, the horse that I would want them to make is Harley, the Sugar Bush Draft. He is a lead pony at Churchill Downs, which is very close to where I live, and it's like my favorite horse in the entire world. So if they made a version of him in this game, I would buy it at once. So the last thing on my list is console and Steam release. In ways this may seem far-fetched, but I think it would be worth it for them to do. So I don't know about Steam. I don't know like what the requirements are to be able to put something on there, but for like console, for example, I know that it's really complicated for devs to be able to port over their game, but I do think it would be worth it for Star Stable. So with the Switch 1 we have right now, it would blow up if it tried to play this game, but I think that with Switch 2 right around the corner, it's going to be more than capable of running this game, and way more complicated games than this one are already on the Switch 1, so I don't think it's impossible for it to be on there. And really nothing would have to change with the format of the game going onto console, because there's lots of free-to-play games on the eShop that can be downloaded, lots of online games on there. So this one really wouldn't be all that different. And yes, at a certain point in this game you do hit a paywall, but on Switch, if you're playing an online game that has a premium store and items that you buy with real money, you can easily do that. So I don't see a reason that Star Stable couldn't do the same thing, where eventually after you get past the free levels, you have the option to be able to continue being a free player but be very limited, or you can pay and have the full version. And it's no different than playing it on the website or on mobile, but the difference is that there's a huge amount of people, kids especially, that have a Switch or will have a Switch too, and they're going to be browsing on the eShop looking for things to download. And especially being that this is a essentially free to play game, at least at first, there's going to be a lot of people that would download it just to try it and see what it is, and if they like it, yeah, they'll buy it, and you have a whole new market available to you. And it's kind of the same thing with Steam, where you're just making it more accessible and more available to people, and you really don't have anything to lose other than it takes a lot of time and effort to port something over. But in the long run, I think it would be worth it because it would bring them in a lot of new business. Well, that is it for my list. I think I had like 21 things on the list. Let me know what you guys think. Do you agree or disagree with anything, or what are your own ideas? I am so interested in this topic and I would love to hear from you guys. So let me know in the comments. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!